You're listening to 97.7 The Bolt. Thanks, everybody, for joining me. And joining me now is the creator and writer for a new podcast called Dear Young Rocker, Chelsea Ursin. Chelsea, how are you doing today?
Oh, I am great. Just waking up with my matcha latte.
There you go. Not a bad way to wake up.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me a little bit about this podcast.
Yeah, so Dear Young Rocker has two parts. One part is a memoir, so it's my story of growing up as, an awkward, anxious, kind of loner kid who felt different in middle school and high school. And I tell her story of getting into rock music and kind of finding that escape and that outlet for those weird kid feelings through playing guitar and bass and joining bands and just, falling in love with music. And then the other half is a series of letters from Big Me, as in 31-year-old me now, writing to that young kid me, telling her some stuff I kind of wish she had known back then.
Yeah, I started listening to it last night. I really like the concept. I don't think I've ever heard that in a podcast before. What made you decide to do it that way, where you're kind of talking to yourself?
Yeah, so I originally started writing it as like a traditional memoir kind of book, and then someone said to me, oh, this one paragraph here where you address your younger self and say, hey, you should have just kicked out all the boys in your band and had a girl band and had a better time. That's the best part. You should do more of that. And then I thought about that and I was like, yeah, I really like this. It's really cathartic. It's really great to write to myself. So I started doing more and more of that, and then I decided to shape it into a podcast so it could bring into the musical elements and the sound effect elements and make it more of like a real world.
So talking about music specifically, like who kind of got you into music? When did you kind of start getting into playing guitar and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. So I got my first guitar, an old acoustic that was sitting around my grandpa's house when I was 11 years old for Christmas. And then soon after that, I decided I'm definitely a bass player. And the first band I fell in love with was the Smashing Pumpkins, and I wanted to learn all of their songs. And then soon after, I got into more grunge 90s stuff, Nirvana, Pixies, etc. But yeah, no one in my life brought me into music. I don't know, heard it on the radio and loved it, I guess.
So if anything, do you hope people kind of get out of this podcast?
Yeah, I really hope people get something out of it. I've gotten a few messages from parents that are pretty amazing. Some dads who are like, I'm a 60-year-old man. I have nothing in common with you, Chelsea, but I feel like I connect with my daughter. Like, I understand what she's going through now. And that's pretty touching. And then other people who are like, I felt like a little weirdo, too, when I was a kid, and never kind of processed that or realized, what was actually cool about that, and just, forgot that part of myself. So thank you for helping me feel those feelings again and kind of get through them. So that's what I want to hear. I just want to help people who've ever felt alone and being different and thought they were weird and realized there's actually something cool and creative about that.
I mean, like you said, it's kind of cathartic, sort of therapeutic for yourself, but then I'm sure it helps when, like you said, people are reaching out to you and saying, wow, I never thought about it this way, and like you said, helping connect people with their daughters and stuff. So I think it's great that you have that wide reach. Mm-hmm. And then let people know where they can find this, because I think I found it on Spotify, but I'm sure you can get it just about any music listening platform.
Oh, yeah. Definitely check out the iHeartRadio app. It's on there. And it's on Apple Podcasts. It's on any podcast app you've ever heard of. And you can just go to DearYoungRocker.com and click on a button and find out, too.
Perfect. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Yeah, thank you, Sam.
No problem. You have a good one.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye.